Because if you're an unconfident person, you're just a sheep. You're a person that hides in the shadows and you're never going to exert yourself. It's going to show in your money. If you're not confident, you won't be able to make as much money. You won't be able to lead your family. If you're a father and you're not confident, like how can you lead your kids? How can you set the example? How can you be the shield bearer for your family if you're not confident? Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast, to the video. As always, appreciate you guys' comments. Appreciate you guys clicking the like button on the videos, and make sure you're subscribed. I know a lot of people watch these videos and then come back, but they're not subscribed, not getting notifications, and it helps us and it helps you, and we'll keep making them. Man, I get messaged all the time, especially on Instagram, from young men and some guys my age, that are saying they're lacking confidence, and maybe you're lacking confidence. And I can, my life at 41 years old is interesting because I go from times that I was very, very confident to times where I wasn't so confident, and there's life factors in there. So I wanted to kind of break that down. Why does it matter? What happens in your mind, the mindset shift, and then things that you can do in your life to really legitimately become more confident. And we see this in the Agogi all the time. So it's kind of like, to me, it's almost cliche at this point, because I can put people through a program and I know that they're going to become more confident. Their life's going to change. They're going to make more money. And it's like a algorithm almost, just like this simple thing that you can do, and it just happens. And Mario, you did it too, right? You ran the program and you became more confident as well in your darkest of days, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you guys know I was a Marine Raider, Force Recon Marine, and then a Marine Raider for the last half of my career. I would say I was pretty confident. Some people would even call me cocky. No one ever called me. No, they definitely said, Nick, you're too cocky. You should humble yourself. I was a very confident individual. But then I got out and I became very, very unconfident. I was, I let the transition get me. I let my excuses get me. I gained weight. You guys have been following me for a long time. I've seen those photos. You guys know this story. I wrote a book about it called The Excommunicated Warrior, The 7 Stages of Transition. Highly suggest you go read that or listen to it on Audible. But yeah, man, I became so unconfident. I wasn't confident about my abilities. I wasn't confident about my experience. And even sometimes I have to catch myself today going, oh, well, what do I know? I don't know that much. And then I go talk to somebody and they're like, I'm like, isn't this just common knowledge? So we underplay ourselves. We underestimate ourselves too much. And then we let life kick us in the ass and we don't kick it back. And then, for me, I gained a bunch of weight, not the weight that I wanted to. So when I got out of the Marine Corps, my last deployment, I was almost 240 pounds, probably about 10 to 12% body fat. But then a couple years later, I'm 240 pounds and 26% body fat, right? Needless to say, when I took my shirt off, I wasn't the same looking individual. I wasn't, I didn't exude that confidence. And what's crazy is my life and my bank account reflected it. My relationships reflected it. My bank account reflected it. The way I felt reflected that lack of confidence. So going into that, why does it matter? Why does it matter to be confident? Because if you're an unconfident person, you're just a sheep. You're a person that hides in the shadows and you're never going to exert yourself. It's going to show in your money. If you're not confident, you won't be able to make as much money because you doubt yourself, self-doubt. You won't be able to lead your family. If you're a father and you're not confident, like how can you lead your kids? How can you set the example? How can you be the shield bearer for your family if you're not confident, right? And an unconfident man, you have a relationship with a woman, you're super unconfident. How's that going to go over? How can you chase her? How can you protect her? How can you romanticize her? You can't. And then what happens is then the female becomes the more dominant person in the relationship, and that never works well. You change gender roles, and then they just don't respect you as much. And that's the reality. And you can beat me up in the comments, but that's the truth. And that's when, women start cheating on them and doing other things. And then the man falls into the more depression and drinking and watching porn and just, being hiding in the bathroom with your pants around your ankles, feeling sorry for yourself. So be confident. You got to make money. You got to lead. And you got to have leadership, right? You got to lead your family. So we make the decision to become more confident. Okay? We make the decision to be more confident. It's a mindset shift. But there's this thing that happens. Your routine, the comfort of life, holds you down. It holds you back. And you make the decision to get away from it. Initially, it's very hard. I've got a guy in here that that works for us that we're putting him on the HWY program, and so now he's got to wake up early, and it sucks, man. It hurts. But when you first start this transition, things are very, very difficult. Eating right, going to the gym, talking to people, making eye contact, shaking hands, standing up, putting your shoulders back, right? Speaking with authority. This is all uncomfortable because the closer you are to your original self, the more of that gravitational pull to negativity, and I don't mean negativity as in negative people, but just the negative aspects of life, right? And the closer you are to that, the more of a heavier of a pull to it. But just like as you get away from Earth, right? As the further you get away from the planet, the gravitational pull gets less and less. So the further you get away from your older self, the less confident version of you, the less of that pull is, the less of that gravitational pull is, and the easier it becomes. The more ice baths that you do, the more weight that you lose, the more you start to see progress, and the more confident you become, the positive snowball effect starts to happen. So you have to understand that. You have to understand there's a complete mindset shift. How do we do that? Okay? How do we do that? Well, here's the actual practical application of becoming more confident. If you're fat, become unfat. What does this mean? It's the HWY system, right? You wake up early. You train your body. You don't eat sugar. You sleep good. You get 8 hours of sleep or more. Okay? And if that means I got to get up at 4 a.m., go the fuck to bed the night before. Put your kids to sleep, kiss your wife, go bang and have sex, and then go to sleep. Prioritize your life. You don't need to be sitting around watching Netflix for 18 hours a day, right? Prioritize your life based off what your priorities are. So if I tell you to write your top 4 priorities down, and then I go look at your routine, do they match? Cut out all the bullshit. Cut out all the BS. Okay? So the first step is getting unfat. You should be a war against yourself. Look in the mirror and go, fuck you, fat. You're off my body. You're off the fucking team, man. You're out of here. And then you do whatever it takes. You prioritize your protein. You eat a shit ton of protein. You eat a moderate amount of carbs. You eat a low-fat diet. That's it. And you lift fucking weights every day for the now until the day you die. That's the plan. All right? That will happen. You will get fat off your body that way. The next thing is this. The story that you tell yourself. The shit that you tell yourself in your head. If you constantly are telling yourself that you're not confident, that you're a piece of shit, that whatever the negative self-talk that you have going on in your head, that is proving yourself right. Whatever the story that you tell yourself will become true. You have to tell yourself the opposite. And it might sound cheesy, it might sound silly, but you have to give yourself positive affirmations. Go look in the mirror and go, I'm a fucking warrior. I'm a badass. I'm the top G. I'm the top motherfucker in this family. I'm the top person in this world. I'm the top person in my life. Talk yourself up. I do it. I do it to my son. He's 3 years old. I'm like, dude, you're a warrior. I'm like, you're a badass, bro. And he goes, yeah. He goes, I'm tough guy. I'm a tough guy. Because that makes, and he is a confident little 3-year-old. He thinks he can do everything. But what does that do for his entire life? Yeah, he's going to have failures. He's going to get hurt. But he's going to have this foundation of confidence, this foundation of positive affirmations. And even when he can't do something, I'm like, you can do it. And I just keep reiterating it. You need to do that to yourself. You need to look in the thing and go, hey, man, I can make the money. I can get the girl. I can have the body. But it has to be on repeat. My wife tells me this thing I have to do all the time. She makes me say it all the time. Everything good works out for me. Even when bad shit happens, she goes, what do we say? Everything good works out for me. I get a bad letter. I get a bad email. I get bad news. A deal falls through. You know, I'm always doing something. So I'm always getting bad news. Everything good works out for me. That is a mantra that we say. Everything good works out for me. And you need to say the same thing. The last thing I'm going to say is I'm going to tell you to challenge yourself. And it can be simple challenges. It could be like the September challenge that we're doing inside the Agogi right now. You know, you're doing 100 kettlebell swings a day, read a book, take a 5-minute ice bath, go on a 2-mile walk. It's simple shit, right? But it's the consistency of the thing. So I just want to be consistent as possible, right? Maybe it's Mario's doing the marathon challenge, right?
Yeah, marathon prep. Yep.
6 weeks?
6 weeks.
And then you're gonna
it's going to be 7 technically because we're going to be in California.
Because we're BAK Live.
Yeah.
Right. So, but that's a challenge, right? And why do you want to do that?
Just that next goal, just that next step to challenge myself.
Right. You did the project, graduated honor grad there. Check. Now the next one.
Yep.
Right. And that's the thing is, if you challenge yourself, and they don't have to be big challenges, it can just be little challenges, but every so many weeks you need to do a challenge. Do a small challenge, do a big challenge, do a small challenge, because what happens is you move the needle in your life. You're like, oh wow, that was challenging, that was uncomfortable, but now my level of uncomfortable just grew to another level. And now I can push that level. And before you know it, in a couple of years, you look back and you're like, what you thought was just life breaking, mindset breaking, body breaking is really nothing. You're like, oh, it's nothing. It's not even difficult anymore. I look back at my time in the Marine Corps and everybody goes, well, what was harder, boot camp or this? Recon or Raider? It's like, well, it's not like that. It's on a sliding scale. At the time I did recruit training in 2000, that might be the hardest thing. Then RIP, then amphibious reconnaissance school, then selection, then something else, then SEER, whatever, dive school, whatever it may be. But the scale moves. What you think is hard now in 2 years won't be that hard. And if it is, well, then you haven't applied yourself. And by doing these things, gentlemen, you will become one confident motherfucker. When you can take your shirt off at 41 years old and you're sub 10% body fat, that makes you one confident individual. You walk into a room, you command the room. You command respect. The people look at you and they go, that guy works out. What does that mean? That means he has discipline. That means he has consistency. That means he gives a shit and he prioritizes life differently. He can restrict himself. He can withhold from doing stupid shit. He doesn't have as many vices that all the rest of us have. These things will make you more confident. And here's the beautiful thing. We have the Agogi. By all means, join the Agogi. Every man should. But you don't have to. All of the things that I told you to do cost no money. You can just do them in your life. You can wake up early. You can work out. You can restrict yourself from fatty and sugary foods. That's it. Run the play, guys. And if you do need help, get in the damn Agogi. Like this video. Share it with a friend. I want you guys to share it with 4 of your fat friends. Send this, if you got a fat friend, just hit the little arrow, share a video, and then send it to him. And then drop me a comment on his reaction. Other than that, guys, never quit, never surrender, always forward. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.